Hello, friends. Welcome to a very special Major Championship edition of Golf Subpar. I am Colt Nost alongside Drew Stoltz, and we're here to break down this week's U.S. Open at Winged Foot and also introduce you to a brand new free-to-play gaming app called Chirp. Let's get to Winged Foot in this week's U.S. Open. I know you're super pumped for this week because it looks like it's going to be a bloodbath out there. I think the players are going to struggle, and I know you love pain.
I want pain. I want carnage. Hey, it's okay for best players in the world to not shoot 66 every round. I mean, more or less since the restart, dude, it's been an absolute shootout every week. They've had perfect conditions, soft greens. They've had very little to deal with, with the exception of Jack's tournament, Muirfield. That one played tough. And Olympia Fields, the BMW. That one played tough as well, almost like a little mini U.S. Open. But more often than not, it's been 20 under pars winning. Got to go out there, got to shoot 500 a day. We've seen 59s, 60s, all this kind of stuff. I'm ready for some challenge. I'm ready for these guys to struggle. I want to see some bogeys. I want to see 1-2 over par be a great score at the end of the day. So, yeah, dude, it rarely happens. These guys are so good at golf nowadays that it's tough. There's not that many venues that can really challenge them. And Winged Foot, from everything I've seen on social media and you and I have been talking to some of the players that are on site there, it looks like it's going to be a monster.
Yeah, hopefully the weather's good so the place gets firm. The greens get a little crusty because that's always fun. That makes it challenging for the guys. I definitely don't think we're going to see anybody get to double digits under par.
I will be so pissed if someone gets to double digits under par.
I mean, if you look back to 2006 when Jeff Ogilvy won, he won at 5 over par.
Yeah.
The cut was 9 over par.
Perfect.
And I know that's something you're kind of looking for. That's what you want.
That's beautiful.
I mean, this is the major where Phil Mickelson absolutely blew it.
Yep.
Where he banked it off the
grandstand. And then, just a debacle.
Where he said, I'm an absolute idiot afterwards. Mm-hmm. But, it's this U.S. Opens are fun. They're different. This is the 1 week a year where I think everyone tunes in to watch the best players in the world kind of get humanized a little bit and to be like, oh, that's how I play at home. Obviously, much different conditions. But they're fine with people shooting 77, 78. Yeah. Like, that stuff happens. And it's one of the few weeks a year where driving the ball in the fairway actually means a lot.
Yeah, which how many of those courses are out there? And it's not – the thing that's great about Winged Foot, it's also 7,400 yards plus. So while hitting the fairway, you have to. Everything I've seen on social media looks like if you're missing the fairway – it's a chop out. It's maybe you could try to squirt something up by the green, but not a lot of greens are going to be hit from the rough this week. But you can't just lay back and hit an iron. Be like, all right, I'll just hit it 250 off the tee, because you're going to have long irons into hard, slopey greens, and there's just no way I don't think you can play 72 holes like that. So you got to hit driver. The best drivers of the golf ball are going to be having an enormous advantage. But I actually went back and watched some of the coverage from the final round of 2006 just last night because I'd forgotten a lot of the holes. I remember obviously how it ended and all that stuff, but man, we talk about U.S. Open being drivers, iron play, all that, total ball striking. Jeff Ogilvy, the way he won this golf tournament, he won it down the stretch with an unbelievable short game. And so it's going to be just such a hard tee to green setup that I think whoever wins is still going to have to chip and putt the hell out of it, because you're just going to, no matter how good you are off the tee, how good you are with your irons, you will miss greens. You will miss fairways at Winged Foot, and you're going to have to try to save those pars. And Jeff Ogilvy doesn't get enough credit because everyone talks about how Phil blew this U.S. Open, which he did, and that deserves to get a lot of attention. But what Jeff Ogilvy did down the stretch with the chip in for par on 17. I mean, the rough was so thick then, he had a wide right drive on 17, couldn't even chip it to the fairway. It took him 2 chips to get up there by the green, So it's going to test every single aspect, and I think that U.S. Open played perfectly. 5 over par, I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, you don't have to play – I mean, around here you can't fake it. I mean, you have to play real golf. You're not going to be able to skank it around. We were talking with Jason Gore from the USGA earlier today. He said the average fairway width is 24 yards wide, and
that's nothing.
Very narrow. And how about in 2006, the guy who led the field in greens and regulation hit 48 greens.
Yeah.
So average missing 6 greens a day. So you got to have a stellar short game. You got to make those 8 to 10 foot crucial par saving putts. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. A lot of golf courses, they tend to kind of like start you out a little easy, let you work your way into your round. Winged Foot doesn't. Winged Foot punches you in the mouth. Of the first 3 holes, they were ranked numbers 2, 3, and 4 of hardest on the golf course in 2006.
Yeah, you got a little first tee jitters. You better sack up and get over it. You're going to be about +5 through 3 because this thing comes at you, and it comes at you quick. And I was looking at social media and talking with some of the guys. Players were talking about, I had balls landing in the fairway, bouncing into a rough. There weren't like tons of spotters out there in practice rounds on Sunday and stuff. But they're like, dude, I couldn't find balls. My ball would literally land on the right side of the fairway, and we couldn't locate the thing coming up there. So I know they're going to have a lot of spotters out there, and maybe they'll tweak the rough a little bit. But as it looks like right now, I think we are going to get a monstrous, grinded out U.S. Open like we hope to.
Yeah, they're doing the graduated rough again, which I really like. I mean, I think if you miss the fairway by a yard, you shouldn't get as punished as much as for missing it by 15 yards.
Agreed.
And I think with no fans, which I wish there were fans there because the New York fans are the best. They're crazy. They're loud. There's not going to be any trampled down areas. It's going to be thick, lush, rough, all the way to outside the ropes. So you better hit the ball straight or you're going to be in for a very long week at Wingfoot.
Yeah, Phil's 72nd hole where he boinked it off the grandstands or whatever that was, the media tent over there, and it ricocheted back. He tried to hit a long iron out of that because it had been trampled down by the spectators. That ain't going to happen this year. If it goes over there, that's going to be like wedge sideways. Hopefully I can get it back in the fairway.
Yeah,
might have been better for him, actually.
And I don't know about you, but in my opinion, like a golf course like this really separates the field. And I feel like it's going to be a big name. It's a big golf course. It's a big boy golf course, and I think one of the big names is going to be hoisting the trophy at the end of this week.
I don't think there's any sleeper that's coming out of here. I think the last winner outside of the top 50 in the world golf rankings was Keegan Bradley in 2011. I do not see that trend breaking this week with someone outside the top 50. I think you're going to see, if you look at that leaderboard going into Sunday, I think you're going to see all the marquee names in golf. It's just too hard. I don't think there's going to be any Cinderella stories up there. If you look at 2006, it was Jeff Ogilvy, who at the time was a monster, winning all the WGCs, the match play. Phil Mickelson, Jim Furyk, who was a beast at U.S. Open for a long time. Padraig, VJ. It was like the marquee guys.
The only one up there that wasn't was that Kenneth Ferree.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, Kenneth.
Legend.
Is it Ferree?
Ferree or Ferry? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I always thought it was Ferree. I didn't want to
since.
disrespect the man. Yeah, he made a good run, but mostly, I mean, you look at the top 10 names, like 9 of them were like the guys at the time. So I think you'll get the same this year.
So what you're saying is when we look at the odds in our Chirp app later on, you think it's going to be one of those favorites?
Yeah, I don't see any sleeper coming up and win this thing. I think it's just too hard of a test, and if you can't get it done at a regular tour event, I don't see it like, oh, this is the one I'll do. This is the one I'll play well at, the hardest venue that we've seen all year by a mile, and it looks to be every bit of that.
Okay, so for all you last-minute guys into the field, you're not going to win this week.
Tough break, boys. There's always next year.
But we mentioned Chirp. Have you had the opportunity to use Chirp yet?
Yeah, dude. I've had a blast with it. So this thing's been in beta testing for the last month or so. Ask me if I know what beta means. I don't, but I know we've been testing it out. So I've been firing on it every single weekend. Dude, this thing makes watching golf so much more fun. So we've been in this like little group. It started at 20, then it grew to 50 and more. And we bet live action. You can bet anything you want. So you can bet tournament matchups at the beginning of the week. If you're like, oh, I like John Rahm this week. Boom, you can fire on him and his odds. If you want round by round, all right. John Rahm versus Justin Thomas. I like Rahm in that too. Whatever you want, you can bet that. But where the rubber really meets the road is they got live betting that comes off. It's been the last like 2 hours, 3 hours of coverage every single round, and the bets start coming. So you're on your app, you're looking at it right there. As soon as it goes live, you get this little chirp, lets you know on your phone that, hey, here come the bets. You get on it, and it gives you like a hole by hole. It'll probably give you like a bet every few minutes, right? Will John Rahm hit the fairway on this hole? Will Ricky Fowler make this 10-foot birdie putt? What score will Xander Schauffele make on the par 3 12th? And it's got the odds for everything. And you start firing it, and you get started off with a certain amount of chirp dollars. So I think you start off with 10,000 chirp dollars on day one, right? If you blow your wad and you stink and you're just sending it on every single bet and you lose, no fear. You get reset. You get restocked the next day with some money, but it's harder to catch up at that point. So you're not like done for the week or anything like that if you blow your wad on the first day. But dude, these things start coming. You can play little internal games with your boys. Like, all right, whoever has the most chirp dollars at the end of the week, we get a hundo, Venmo, whatever it is. But dude, it's fun. I've been sitting on the couch. My wife's like, hey, Drew, will you come clean? I'm like, shut up. I'm chirping right now. Can't you? I'm in the middle of chirp. If I miss 2 bets, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind. Do not talk. But dude, it really makes it like fun while you're in the action because they keep coming. And you get a 30-second shot clock for each one. So like you can't sit there and be like, oh, will he make this 10 for? Let me go check his stats or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you got to fire it right away or you miss it and you got to wait for the next one. It's fun, dude.
I love that you can have some side action with your buddies.
Yep.
But then you can also win some incredible prizes and experiences through Golf.com, TrueSpec, Mira. All kinds of cool stuff on there. You're definitely going to want to check this out. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially this week at the U.S. Open because I know everybody's going to be glued to their TV all week long.
It's the best way to watch. And, these aren't little, like, rinky-dink prizes like, oh, you win a hat. Like, these are legit, like, golf trips, clubs, all kinds of cool stuff. So it's a good time to fire. And you can start your own group. We're going to have our own league here at Golf Subpar
League. Yeah.
And you can also be in the global as well against, like, everybody that's playing on Chirp. So you can participate in 2 different groups, essentially, the whole time. You could potentially win both if you go have a week out there.
One of the prizes is if you beat Sleaze, he will tramp stamp your name. I'll get a tramp stamp of your name.
Absolutely. I think that's fair.
Brilliant.
I think that's fair. I'm willing to do it even if you don't beat me. If I beat you, I might just do it out of respect.
I love it.
I've been looking for a good tramp
stamp.
Let's
get to the Chirp app and look at some of these odds for this week's U.S. Open, all right? I'm gonna read off a list of favorites.
Okay.
I picked 7 guys who have the shortest odds to win this week. And this is, I think, a little ridiculous. No offense to Chirp or anything. I know he's playing great golf. 2 wins, 2 seconds in his last 4 starts.
I think I know who you're talking
Dustin
about.
Johnson's plus 650. So $100 returns you $650 if he wins.
6.5 to 1.
6.5 to 1.
That's
the next best.
Heavy odds.
Yeah. in a U.S. Open major championship field, the next best is Jon Rahm at plus 1,100.
Almost 2 times.
That's a little hard for me to believe.
6.5x doesn't get you a lot of return. And when you get on Chirp, you'll see. I started off betting like $200, $150, and then like after a few bets, I was like, "What am I doing, dude? This isn't my money. I'm not betting like I started just saying 3,000, 4,000. So like as you get towards the end of the week, like you'll see guys just putting $250 on will a guy hit the fairway or not, because the money gets bigger and bigger. So
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, some of the other favorites this week: Xander Schauffele plus 1,400, Rory McIlroy plus 1,400, Justin Thomas the same plus 1,400, Bryson DeChambeau. Very interested to see Bryson this week. Chirp has him going off at plus 1,800. Webb Simpson, plus 2,000, and Colin Morikawa, the most recent major winner, also at plus 2,000.
Yeah, those are the boys. Those are the big names at the top. I would be somewhat surprised if one of those guys didn't get the job done at the end. There's obviously more guys in there that you can bet on too.
Out of those 7 guys, give me your top 2.
I'll give you my top 2 right now, and this is not like a surprise or anything, but one guy I love, 11-1, Jon Rahm. Been loving him.
We all love him.
We all love him. There's a lot to love, especially going into a golf course like this. But if you look at what are the 2 events I mentioned that have been hard golf courses since the restart?
Olympia Fields and Muirfield Village.
And who won both? Jon Rahm. I mean, I think his game is suited for all this. You mentioned like you're gonna have to make 10-footers. You're gonna have to make 8-footers. You need a good short game. He's got all of that.
You need an incredible short game.
He's got all of that, and he's playing really well at the moment right now. So 11-1 with Jon Rahm. That's one of the guys I like a lot. Who you got?
My number 1 pick this week. This guy's played 3 U.S. Opens, and his worst finish is T6.
Yep.
Finished T3 last year at the U.S. Open. The guy he's a big-time player, and at some point he's going to raise a big trophy, and I think now's the time for Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
I think this place sets up perfect for him. He drives the ball pretty straight, but he's one of those guys. He has no weaknesses.
Zero.
As our good friend the Seagull, Charlie Hoffman, I mean, he's scared of him.
He won't even play him.
He won't play him anymore.
He won't even play him.
So it's hard for me to bet against a guy like that, especially when he's 14-1 versus Dustin, who's 6.5-1. I really like Xander a lot this week. Another guy, he's got his old caddy coming back on the bag after a little timeout. Jimmy Johnson is back on the bag for Justin Thomas. Arguably the best rough player on the PGA Tour with that upright golf swing, which, like I said, everyone's going to miss fairways. If you hit 50% of your fairways this week, that's a really good driving week. So I look for Justin to be up there as well.
I like both of those picks. Xander was the second one that I had on that list too. I mean, you mentioned him. He's just hanging around the hoop so much in these big events. 3rd, 5th, 2nd, all these high finishes. Eventually it's going to tip over. I went back and looked at his stats. Of the 3 U.S. Opens he's played in, which you mentioned, he's finished 5th, 6th, and 3rd. If you accumulate all the guys that have played in those 3 same U.S. Opens, strokes gained putting, Xander Schauffele's first. Birdies and eagles made, Xander Schauffele's second. Strokes gained off the tees, Xander Schauffele is third. And proximity to the hole, Xander Schauffele is third.
You didn't look that up. You stole Justin Ray's information.
I looked it up on Twitter. Shout out Justin Ray.
Give Justin Ray some credit.
Why would I ever do any research when Justin Ray just gives it to you? Shout out Justin Ray. But, dude, that's wild, bro.
Hey, guys, I'm really smart. I thought about looking this up.
I did a little Brandel Chambly, and I just read books for 17 hours. But, yeah, that's it. Straight from Justin Ray. I mean, every strokes gained stat that really matters a lot, he's in the top 3 or 5, basically. So I look for him to have a big week.
Yeah, and those are the favorites.
I feel like we pick those same guys every week, but how do you not?
Well, they're the best in the world.
How do you not pick these guys at the U.S. Open? Yeah, exactly. And,
and
the odds are just too high for Dustin Johnson.
I think a lot of that's the only reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not I don't like Dustin.
I'm trying to make money, trying to make some chirp dollars here.
I'm trying to stack chirps.
Yeah, trying to win prizes, and 6.5-1 just doesn't really get it going for me.
But I need value.
He's playing really good right now.
He's not terrible. Yeah.
There's a reason he's the favorite.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to some dark horses, some guys that can really add some value and really move you up that leaderboard on Chirp. And I'm going with a guy who also plays very well at hard golf courses. Had an incredible final round. First off, the final round at Bay Hill and the final round Memorial, 2 guys broke 70. There was 2 rounds under 70. They were both by the same guy, Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, dude.
Going off at 66-1. He's a world-class putter. I think he's number 6 on the PGA Tour inside of 10 feet. And like we said at U.S. Opens, you're going to have a lot of 10-footers, a lot of 8-footers for par. You got to grind those out. And he's as good as they get. And for 66 plus 6,600, I love that value.
Sneaky under the radar guy, too, that doesn't get enough credit for him. And world-class short game. Like you mentioned, who's got the best short games out there? He's a guy that gets brought up all the time. So I don't hate that at all, especially at 66-1. I'll give you my first dark horse. I don't know if this counts as he's a dark horse necessarily. 33-1. That's pretty long odds. I'm going to go with Mr. Jason Day, who's made a little resurgence lately.
I don't consider that a dark horse.
Is that dark enough?
He's middle.
He's like a gray horse. We'll call him the gray horse of the U.S. Open. But 33-1, still a pretty good return on your chirp bucks. He finished 4th at the PGA Championship. He's had a really nice little resurgence. He has 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts. When he's driving it well, he can drive it as good as almost anyone in the game. I also love the fact just like Jeff Ogilvy won in 2006. He can hit the ball high or as high as almost anyone in the game of golf, which coming into these greens at Winged Foot, that's paramount, I believe. And I also love him chipping and putting the golf ball. I mean, dude, there's no one I'd rather watch hit bunker shots, chip, all that stuff. He's nails with that.
He's been the best putter from inside of 10 feet for years.
Which I think is a massive stat going in this week. So Jason Day at 33-1, I think is a pretty good.
I'll allow it, even though it's not a dark horse.
Okay.
I thought our dark horses were outside of 50-1, but you know what? It's U.S. Open. Okay. We'll make it a little different.
Fair enough.
One more for you. Harris English, guy who just had an incredible season last season, also going off at 66-1. He's a guy. He's done unbelievable work with Justin Parsons on his swing. He's got it back, and a very underrated putter, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can't get any argument with that. Good odds on that one, too. This is where you got to send it, stack up some chirpies. I'm going to go right here with a guy, friend of the program, actually, Colt, for my second dark horse, 50-1, Mr. Paul Casey. So doesn't have the greatest track record at U.S. Opens either. But if you look at where he has played well, his best U.S. Open finishes, they're all the hardest golf course. They're all the ones where par is at the most value, right? So his best finish is a 10th place at Oakmont in 2007. Next best finishes, 16th at Shinnecock, 15th at Winged Foot back in 2006. So when the winning scores are over par, and par is a really good score, he tends to do better. And he's also a guy that, like, if you just look at him on paper, game looks like a U.S. Open type golf game. Hasn't been the best lately, but I think he's pretty damn close at the PGA. He just got beat by Colin Morikawa. So and that felt like a little baby U.S. Open. So I'll take Paul Casey.
All right, one of the other cool things about Chirp is the prop bets. All kinds of prop bets on there you can bet at the start of the week. I know we each picked our favorite.
Yes.
So my favorite Chirp prop bet of the week. What place will Tiger Woods finish? Okay? You can go 1st to 5th for 10-1, 6th to 10th, 3-1, 11th to 20th, 1.5-1. Outside of 21st, you get him plus 700, 7-1. That's where I'm going with. I think he struggles this week.
Load up on that. I would load up on that at plus 700.
So he'll probably win 20.
Yeah, exactly. He'll probably have a good week. But, I mean, dude, what can you look at with Tiger right now that's been like, yeah, he's going to play great at Winged Foot? I mean, I don't know. The driver hasn't been great. The putter has been really not good. And if you're going to have a lot of 6, 8, 10 footers for par, not a lot to make you think Tiger's going to play great at Winged Foot. 7-1 outside top 21. I will follow you to that one on the well. And I got one here, Colt, that jumped out at me, and I'm going to send it in a massive way. Maybe I might send him a whole lot on this on day one. What score will the winner of the tournament shoot? Okay. At -2 or worse. Okay. So -2 or worse, you're getting plus 500. Okay. I've seen nothing thus far or read anything that leads me to believe that anyone's going to go out there and shoot under par on this golf course. I think you're going to get an over par winning score, and I think it could be a lot over par based on what I've seen so far. I think it could surpass what we saw in 2006.
Hope so.
And I hope this will be a brain bet and a heart bet on this. But plus 500, -2 or worse, I'm going to send it on that all day long. I think that's a home run.
Yeah, I mean, the weather forecast looks good for the most part. Very little chance of rain. I think if it doesn't rain, the greens are going to get firm, and I think 100% over par will win. From everyone I've talked to, whether it be Josh Gregory, who coaches a lot of PGA Tour players, to Gary Woodland, to Justin Thomas, they're like, this place is so hard, it's ridiculous.
It's monstrous. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it. It doesn't look any easier than I saw in 2006 last night.
Please, USGA, do not soften this thing up.
If you soften it, you're dead to me.
All right, we're going to make one last bet on the Chirp app, and that's we're going to pick our favorite matchup of the week. And I'm going with a guy. First of all, I said he's a great rough player. He's going to be in the rough. Everyone's going to be in the rough. Justin Thomas over a guy that has not played well since the restart. He's really just not got it going at all. Obviously, he's a new father and all this, so he had some other distractions going on. But it's an even money bet for Justin Thomas to beat Rory McIlroy. I really like Justin Thomas a lot this week.
Yeah, not mad at it. Rory had a little brief, show up after the baby there at Eastlake, but hasn't been the dude that we've come to love, and come to expect since the restart. So yeah, JT, he's built for this too. I'm not mad at that. I'll give you another one, and this is a guy that you liked. You already mentioned him earlier in the show. Matthew Fitzpatrick, even money, plus 100 over Jordan Spieth. And let me just preface this by saying we love Jordan. I'm not rooting against Jordan Spieth. I want him back. I want him winning majors, and I think he will be back. But right now, dude, looking at this rough, looking at everything that's going on, the driver just doesn't seem to be where it needs to be to play at Winged Foot. He missed the cut last week at Safeway in a field that wasn't great. Now you're going to Winged Foot, big boy. I just don't see it. And on top of that, I think Matthew Fitzpatrick, like you said, is a great pick this week, especially at even money, man. Like, I'll probably slam that one.
All right. Well, those are our picks. Once again, you got to go download the Chirp app.
Yeah, dude.
Get amongst it. Come visit us on our social media at golf_subpar. Get in our league. We're going to have a lot of cool prizes. And Sleaze, you got some of the prizes that are up for grabs.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to be firing heavy this week. All right, so for the Golf Subpar League, here are some of the prizes, man. They're no joke. A free True Spec driver fitting, including the driver you get fit into. So you go win, you get a free driver. Not too terrible. There's also 2 custom Mira wedges up for grabs. Get that custom grind, Colt. I know you like that specific grind. Got to have the grind. It's all about the grind. $200 free credit to Golf.com Pro Shop. Go in there, get whatever the hell you want. And then in the Global League, which you can participate in both, you can be in Subpar and the Global League.
Which you should do both, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to win, might as well win the whole damn thing. All right, so you got 2-night stay for 2 at Cabot Links with a round of golf on all 3 golf courses for each person, which is, if you've never been there, it's an unbelievable place. Some of the best links golf in the world. How about this one, Colt? This might be up your alley. Little foursome at Shadow Creek.
Been there.
Little place, not too terrible. If you've never been out there, go grab 3 of your boys. Head on out to Shadow. Not a terrible day. That's on the line, too. And also on the line, Colt, you got a lesson with the great George Gankis, who's working with some of the great up-and-coming players right now. He will have you hitting bombs. If you need speed, you want to hit yaks, George Gankis is the guy to see. That's on the line too, dude. So there's some real legit stuff out here this week. All you got to do is sign up for Chirp, get amongst it, try to beat me and Colty, and then you got your pick of the litter right here.